Olawole Olakunle. I'm an Ifa priest, a tech enthusiast, and the executive director of SIOS. It has been an appalling journey in African spirituality. One, I'm certain that a lot of young people like myself would have been stigmatized in their journey as much as I have been stigmatized. I know that it is a very, very trivial journey. And I'm sharing this story, sharing my story to be able to encourage young people who are coming to African spirituality to become steadfast and to ensure that they continue to practice in the spirituality of their ancestors, irrespective of the stigmatization, irrespective of the things they might have seen. And I want to share with you that there are certain, and most importantly, there are different stages of stigmatization you would obviously go through. It is not a new thing that a lot of young people are obviously seeing the light and moving back to African spirituality, most importantly Ifa and the Orishas. And as a tutor and as an Oluwo in that field, I have seen, considering my story, I have seen firsthand the quality of stigmatization that comes across with it. I've had different experiences, I've had different stories rather, and I've seen different experiences of young people like myself too who have been stigmatized by the virtue of the fact that they are a practitioner of African spirituality, notably Ifa and the Orishas. Most importantly, as a young person, it has been very difficult for me with women, considering that I'm a practitioner, I'm a babalawo, and a lot of young people, a lot of ladies tend to get scared because people are obviously afraid of what they don't know. So I'm advising you as a young person, you should not be moved if you see people whom you have very, very close affinity with, people whom you are close to, people who are your friends at your place of work, in the market, in your streets, in church, in school, in the different strata of society. The people that you relate with on a daily basis, they would obviously come outside to stigmatize you. Say, come on, Bimbo is already doing Orisha. Larry is doing Ifa. Don't go close to her. Don't go to. You would not, under no circumstances, blame them. It happened to virtually everybody. One of the things that the human being wants is change, but human nature is prone to seeing the effect of changes. The moment people begin to see that you are changing to a different, reality of what they used to know, it becomes the energy or the aura of stigmatization comes into fold. So, for those of us who are practitioners of African spirituality, it is not a new thing. I've been stigmatized severally. I've been stigmatized in the place of work. I used to work in a company name withheld, and because of the fact that I openly confess that I'm a practitioner of African spirituality, I can say it hard that one of the reasons why I was sacked in the company was because I was a practitioner of African spirituality. Because I came out open to say that I'm a fan. I came out open to say that I came out open to say that I confidently mentioned Ogun, I confidently mentioned Obatala, I confidently mentioned the Orishas without fear of stigmatization, and the end result was that I was stigmatized. People started laying claims, people started laying different allegations, people looked at me differently, people begin to look at me from an evil perspective, people begin to look at me as somebody who is evil. People look at me and say, don't go to him before they use you for blood ritual. So, can we really blame people? No. Because people are acting based on the information they know of. People are acting based on the information they've been fed over time. So people look at me and relate to me as a practitioner of African spirituality because their knowledge of African spirituality is demonic, is evil, is voodoo, is name it. So first, it happened at my place of work. Thereafter, it happened in the community. People who we used to play together, my friends. I lost a whole lot of friends. So do not be surprised that you're going to lose a lot of people who claim to be your friend. they will stop talking to you any longer. They might not even want to eat from you again. It happened to me that even in my household, this stigmatization comes from your immediate environment. My parents, my younger ones do not even want to have anything to do with me. My friends, a whole lot of them ran away from me because they had warnings from their families not to come close to me. They had warnings from the society not to come close to me. How has Ifa addressed the important stereotypical myth of the stigma attached to African spirituality, or some of us who practice African spirituality? In Ogbe Utura, one of the notable sacred odus of Ifa, there are two verses of Ifa that I would obviously like to address and I would obviously like to talk about. One of the verses says, Kashegbagiri modu awe shikori, Kashegbagiri modu awe shikondo. Ẹ̀rín rere kankan sí lẹ́nu ọká, àmọ́ rere kankan sí lẹ́nu èrè. Paramọ́lẹ̀ nìkan ṣoṣo ló fún gbogbo ṣàgbàmọ́ra. Adífá fún ẹnìkan ilé tó yan ọ̀rẹ́ ọ̀la lọ́run tí ò yan tó gbómọ. Wọ́n ní kó kalẹ̀ ẹbọ ni kó máa ṣe. Ǹjẹ́ mo yan ọ̀rẹ́ ọ̀la mo yan tó gbómọ. Kọ̀ǹgẹ̀rẹ̀ o, má dàrúgbó kẹ̀ kọ̀ǹgẹ̀rẹ̀. Ifa has outrightly pointed out that for the naysayers, for those who look at us as evil people, for those who look at us as if we don't know what we are doing, for those who stigmatize us, for those who look down on us, for those who try as much as possible to bring us down as practitioners of African spirituality, we should not look at them because there is no good. The python does not have a good advice to give to you. The only thing that the python knows how to do is to sting. So we should not be dissuaded. We should not let any of their tantrums. We should not let any of the rumors they peddle about us. We should not let all of these rumors. We should not let it bring us down. Ifa now goes further in Ogbotura. Ifa says, "Shuti, mi wuye. Shuti, mi wuye. Kò sẹ́ni tó máa pẹ́yìn dà tó máa ráyò níyọ ṣùtí sí. Adífá fún Ọ̀rúnmìlà, Ifá máa pẹ́yìn dà mọ́ra ẹ̀ máa yan ṣùtí sí. Ẹ máa yan ṣùtí yín lọ. Ẹ máa yan ṣùtí yín lọ. Ẹ̀gàn ní pé kóyin má dùn. Ẹ máa yan ṣùtí yín lọ." Ifá says that there is no human being on planet Earth that would take a turn of change, that would turn around either for good or for bad, that people will not talk about, or people will not stereotype, that people will not label negatively, that people will not abuse, that people will not bring forth negative rumors about. But then Ifa says one of the sustainable means of ensuring that you keep the naysayers, you keep those who stigmatize us at bay, is to continue and be steadfast in your research of the orishas. The annoying part of it is that even after all the stigmatization, you still do not get to understand the Ifa and the orishas. So as much as you are being stigmatized, as much as you are being looked down upon, it is very, very important for you to continue in your journey towards African spirituality, in your journey into the study of Ifa and orishas. Let me tell you a very short story. There was a friend of mine. I'm obviously going to change his name. Let me call him Mr. A. Mr. A was a very good friend of mine. We used to play ball in the street together. And Mr. A is the first video director of the Fapris TV. And at some point in time, while we were very young, we used to have very divergent views on African spiritualities. And it became very glaring. The moment I was very much active and open with African spirituality, Ifa and orishas, Mr. A intentionally moved away from me. Mr. A didn't even want to talk to me. Mr. A had a stereotypical ideology about who I am, who I was, and Mr. A tried everything possible to ensure that I get stigmatized. Babalawo, what will I do with Babalawo? What will I do with Babalawo? While I was studying Ifa to become a priest, Mr. A was studying to become a video director, and we went our separate ways. He didn't want to talk to me. I had nothing to do with him. Yeah, in fact, he had a particular nickname he gave me back then. And just like Ifa said, kò sẹ́ni tó máa pẹ̀yìn dà tó máa ráyè ò ní yọ ṣùtí sí, ẹ máa yọ ṣùtí yín lọ, ẹ̀gàn ní pé kóyin má dùn. The fact that people look down on honey The fact that people abuse honey does not reduce the sweetness of honey. It does not make honey less sweet. So the fact that I'm being stigmatized, the fact that he looked down upon me was not even a yardstick for me to look down upon myself. I knew within myself that I had something that is genuine, and I'm playing a very, very genuine part. I'm playing a part of my ancestors, because outrightly I'm taking a change away from the norm. It is normal for people to talk about that, so I didn't allow that deter me. And at some point a long time, the journey of our lives, we nature brought us back together, and I was surprised that Mr. A was like, if what we go do like this, what should we do? I have so and so challenges. So how you go take help me? I'm like, so of all the people that can actually ask me for help, it is you that asked me for help. So along the line, the Mr. A made me understand that, say, come, I have been scammed in my search for in my search for the truth. I've been scammed. The pastor scammed me, almost raped, almost slept with my wife, almost did so many things for me. I lost a lot of money looking for priests here and there until I met you again. I'm sorry. It was because I didn't know then. That was why I was stigmatizing you. I'm sorry. In fact, I am ready to give out my service as a movie director to you, and that was one of the reasons why we started the Fapis TV. And Mr. A was our first movie director, and I'm happy for him. He has moved to a better level now. What I'm saying in essence is that those who stigmatize us are stigmatizing us from the position of ignorance. And the moment that time itself is a potent tutor. Time will tell, time will teach us, and then time will bring us to meet again on a different platform of information. I feel that if you continue to become steadfast in your search for the truth, Ifa is going to help you, and the witches are going to bless you with competent knowledge to address the truth. Aboraboye.